Adult Swim made a horror anime. It wasn't great, but it does get wild. If you're into anime and know of Adult Swim or Cartoon Network, there's a good chance you know of Toonami, a late night block of shows where they air a lot of anime. Adult Swim has gotten into making original programming for Toonami, including a 4-episode Lovecraftian horror anime called Housing Complex C. I'll be going through the entire plot in this video, so this is your warning. In the year 2000 in Kurosaki, there's a rundown housing complex where this little girl named Kimmy and like 50 old people live. The police say I can't go near the children, but they don't know about my binoculars. My God, that's the strangest child I've ever seen. One of the old guys sees a fish person, and like a Skyrim enemy littered with arrows, he just chalks it up to his imagination. Later that day, the old people get a call that a bunch of other people are moving into the complex to work for a local fishing company, including a family with a young girl named Yuri. The people, however, are all foreigners, and well, the old people, they don't like foreigners. And when the foreigners come in, that's when the spooky things start happening. A boy drawing eldritch horrors, dead animals, people dying, bodies turning into moss, and the most terrifying thing of all, unfamiliar foreign customs. This anime made it feel like my brain was melting. I was mentally exhausted after just watching the first 2 episodes. I couldn't figure out why until I rewatched it and started on this video. It's the dialogue. Usually when you hear someone talk about the dialogue, you might think of the script or the voice acting. But this time, it's actually the pacing. It makes this barrage of words without a clear indication that the sentence is over, and they just keep talking. I tried to look for a subtitled version, but when I searched, I couldn't actually find any. Until about 2 days before this video is coming out, and I had to add and change a bunch of stuff. I watched Housing Complex C on Adult Swim's site, and all I saw there was the English version, and really anywhere I looked, I just saw it in English. But as this video was basically done, I got a hold of an HBO Max account, and there it was. Wait, why is it just episodes 1, 3, and 4 that have Japanese? And episode 1 just has the English closed captions. Ah! I checked the scenes that were the biggest offenders, and it was definitely less of an issue in the Japanese version. So with the old people and the foreigners all at each other's throats, Kimmy wants to do something to make everyone friends again. She wants to not let optical illusions cause mismatched buttons. Now, why did I say that weird-ass sentence? Well, those are 2 of the main themes of the show, and that's about how subtle they are about it too. It kind of feels like watching a kid's show where they just smack you in the face with it. Optical illusions, misjudging things about others which lead to mismatched buttons. Mismatched buttons being once you make a mistake and mismatch a button, everything else will not be right since there was a mistake at the beginning. The third is the wheel coming full circle, but we'll get to that in a bit. The 2 girls throw a shaved ice party for everyone in Housing Complex C. It's revealed that Khan, the brick shithouse fishery worker, has been taking the dead animals found around the complex into the forest to bury them. After the shaved ice party had started, they noticed it tastes a little weird. Well, that's because there's a dead dog's head in the syrup. The 2 groups are now at each other's throats more than ever, and more people are dying and turning into moss as the chaos continues to build. There's a traditional funeral song in Kurosaki. It describes a holy mountain where there's a god that received gifts from the Kuzululu people in an attempt to gain favor with this god, to eventually be reunited with their loved ones. Real quick before we get into these last spoilers, if you're interested in taking a watch yourself, I went ahead and threw the links in the description, just in case you guys wanted to check it out. Alright, now we get to get into the good stuff, all the crazy Lovecraftian things. The 2 girls find a hidden room behind where that dude was placing all of his crazy drawings. It reveals a small passage with cave drawings revealing more about the story. So Kuzululu is Cthulhu. The name kept getting passed down, and somewhere in history it got a little mixed up. Cthulhu in this universe is dead. The fish people we see at the beginning are shown giving sacrifices to the god that lives at the mountain of Kurosaki in the hopes of resurrecting him. The deaths, the animal corpses, it all is offerings in an attempt to resurrect Cthulhu. A few times throughout the show, Kimmy has been seen talking to or mentioning her mommy. So yeah, what she keeps talking to is this plant embryo monstrosity they got going on here, and she's asking it, will everything come full circle? The other main theme of the show. It's then revealed that Yuri and her family were the ones killing the residents of the complex in an attempt to bring back Cthulhu. This was such a weird reveal because there weren't too many hints and they were pretty subtle. This one is my favorite though. Did you find it? I know, it's a little hard to see. The god at Kurosaki has the ability to control time and space. In its ability to control time, this god has kept Housing Complex C stuck in the year 2000, reliving it 20 times. This god has taken the form of Kimi. Kimi is the Lovecraftian god Yog-Sothoth, an omnipotent, all-powerful god and the grandfather of Cthulhu. Yog-Sothoth has been described as having all these orbs and eyes, and multiple times Kimi's been shown with those bubbles around her representing those orbs and eyes. Yuri's family begins to kill the remaining members of Housing Complex C, while Yuri goes to find and kill Kimi. With Kimi's god powers, she changes the path that they were on to lead to the room where she keeps her mom plant embryo thing. She then dumps it on Yuri's head and stomps it into moss. The bodies that were becoming moss were actually Kimi's doing. She did so for the sake of the other residents to not find the dead bodies, and instead find this weird clump of moss. Yuri, then scared and backed into a corner, threatens to get her parents to help kill Kimi. And Kimi's like, oh, great idea. Then starts pulling various pieces of chicken from nothing and throwing them down in front of her. Kimi had been observing humans for 20,000 years to determine something: if humanity were worthy of eternity. Kurosaki was Kimi's peaceful bubble, stuck reliving the same year of 2000 and showing Kimi the kindness that she was looking for out of humans. However, she still wanted to see if the wheel comes full circle, or if humanity can avoid repeating the same mistakes it's made time and time again, of fighting amongst each other. Yuri and her family's actions of disturbing Kurosaki was the final straw for Kimi. They have destroyed her peaceful bubble, and she has ruled humanity unworthy. She reverts the changes she made to the area of Kurosaki, and Khan is the only one left alive from Housing Complex C. As I said earlier, the anime didn't end up the best. However, I believe it had no chance really for two reasons. I think it was too short, and the pacing of the English lines was weird. The English version is jam-packed so tight it's denser than me when I try to speak to women. In the last episode, there's 7 minutes of a convoluted explanation of the mythology, Kimi, and her abilities. There's so much to reveal in so little time, and the lines are spaced in a way where it's not the easiest to understand. The information is important for things in the story and does answer questions that were set up earlier in the show, but with so much dialogue, if you don't fully absorb one bit, you may not understand a bit later. Do you know what you'll get there? You'll ironically get your mismatched buttons. In the translated English subtitles for that section, it really wasn't all too different. In fact, the differences were pretty subtle, but the way they worded things was just a little more direct and a little more concise. It made it a bit easier to follow. I think it also would have benefited from more time to expand on certain things. There were a couple weird moments where there were things that were, granted, supposed to be weird, then ended up just kind of being there. I think probably the biggest disappointment is the lack of the fish people. I wanted to see more of the deep ones, man. That was such like a weird thing, and they just were kind of off to the side. I also want to know what the hell is going on with the mom plant embryo thing. If anyone knows what that's supposed to be, please let me know. I'm genuinely curious if that's a Lovecraftian thing, or if maybe I happened to miss something. It wasn't my favorite anime, but there were things I liked. The Lovecraftian elements were cool, the ideas were definitely there, and the story knew what it wanted to be. There was just a lot to get across lore-wise, as well as trying to make a whole well-rounded anime, and that's a lot to do in just 4 episodes. The more I went through it for the 1,000 times I had to watch it for the video, I started noticing more and more things, so it really wasn't just this thrown together story. There was definitely planning for everything. Like I said, I just think there was so much to try to do in so little time. I'd like to see the full subtitled version to get the full difference between the two, but I guess this is just where I'll have to leave it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. There are links in the description, like I said, for Housing Complex C if you guys wanted to check it out yourselves. And feel free to subscribe or let me know if you liked the video. And I also stream on Twitch if you want to come by and say hi or hang out and talk about anime. So that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.